Mrs. Arcara Burns,
Present.
Mrs. Fowles Macaluso. Dr. Myatt. Mrs. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Morano, Ms. Romano, Mr. Weeks,
Present.
Mrs. McCopolis,
Here.
Mr. Villanueva.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We have a crowded room tonight. It's great to see everybody. It's a exciting time as we wrap up the school year and have all the end of year activities, and particularly for our seniors, I know it's an exciting time to be wrapping up your experience in Morristown. So I will be brief because we've got a very loaded agenda this evening. But I did want to note a couple of things that are particularly important to us as a board. And one of those is we've been talking about for a long time now the creation of an assistant superintendent position. We currently do not have one. And we have, as I said, been talking about this for quite some time, and we are pleased to have on our agenda this evening the creation of an assistant superintendent position, specifically an assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction and innovation. And assuming that the board approves this position, we are also very happy to announce that Dr. Karen Benton will be assuming that role. And so we'll save the applause until after it's formally approved. I'm sure it will go through smoothly, but we did want to note that, and we're very excited about that. So congratulations, Dr. Benton. Mr. Bollendorf is also going to go through some of the retirees that we have, which is always bittersweet. But I also did want to specially note that the principal in this building, Mr. Matt Keith, will be leaving us effective as of the end of this academic year. And we're sad to see him go, but best of luck. We know that you are off further south for greater adventures. And we thank you. Thank you for all of the time and commitment that you've given to our school. So thank you, Matt. And we're also very happy to say that we have found Matt's replacement, which will be a familiar name to those that are familiar with the middle school. And Sherry Caravano will be moving from the assistant principal position up to Mr. Keith's vacated position. So congratulations, Sherry. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the student representatives, and let's hear from them. Lucas?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas McGill, and it is my genuine pleasure tonight to give you my final speech as a Board of Ed liaison. Tonight, I have two exciting topics to talk about, those being end-of-year activities and project graduation. As finals close out the year for underclassmen, the seniors have a week of fun activities planned to close out our high school careers. Yesterday, we had the senior picnic, where there were a bunch of lawn games set up and food provided by senior parents. It lasted for around 2 hours, and everybody had a blast. Today and tomorrow, we have graduation practice, where we practice walking and work out the order in which we do so. And tomorrow, we have a senior memories breakfast in which parents have put together a slideshow of pictures from our time here in the Morristown Public School District. I and everybody else are so excited to end this chapter of our lives with a bang and move on to our next one. On Thursday, after our long-awaited commencement ceremony, we have what a lot of graduates have been looking forward to for weeks since its announcement in our school cafeteria, and that's project graduation. We'll get changed after the ceremony and load onto buses for a set for pre-planned, undisclosed locations. We'll drive down Main Street where the townspeople can send us off by waving to the buses as they go by. The fun will go on all night long, moving to 2 or 3 more locations throughout the night, ending at around 6 or 7 in the morning. We're in for a very long but very fun night. And I've had a spectacular time at Morristown High School, and words cannot express how thankful I am for all the amazing teachers, coaches, and mentors I've been able to lean on for my last few scholastic years. One in particular, I don't think she is here tonight, but Mr. Panny. I've known Mr. Panny for my entire high school experience as the head student council advisor, but only really got to know her when she became my coach when I played the part of the school mascot. Since then, she's had an incredible influence on me, not only in high school, but on my future as well. In fact, I was just recruited to be a D1 cheerleader at the University of Delaware, so I can't thank her enough for introducing me to that world in the first place. something I never would have thought to pursue. So thank you very much, Mr. Panny, for everything you've done for me. That closes out my final Board of Ed speech ever. Thank you very much for listening to me all these months for the past few years. And I'll hand it off to my sophomore class Board of Ed liaison.
Good evening, everyone. If you don't know my name already, I'm Amin Kazmi. I'm the sophomore board liaison. It's been a pleasure speaking on behalf of my class. That's my first year of being a liaison at these meetings, and the fact that it could be my last meeting, although I hope to return next year if I get elected, that it just doesn't feel like it's the end of the year. It feels like we're still in October. With that, I'm gonna recap basically me and the rest of my class's sophomore year. Right off the bat, we had, I think, most of the students' favorite part. It's Spirit Week with the homecoming dance, which I thought was done really well this year, and Pep Rally, my personal favorite. I know they never announced the winners of that, but I think the reason they did that is because the sophomores beat the seniors, and they didn't want to say it. But don't tell them I said that. Coming up after that, we had the Love Fair, which, to be honest, I thought it would be a success. It was like the volunteer opportunities, educational opportunities. I thought we maybe have 50 people show up if we're lucky. When I showed up there like 10 minutes late, I think there was at least maybe 100, 200. Like, it was packed. And I thought that was a real success of the advisors that set it up and the student representatives that set it up. After that, we had our midterms, which less fun. But I think for us sophomores, after like already having some experience, it's a little better than maybe it was for the freshmen. And then, of course, although it wasn't actually a sophomore event, we had prom down at Lucien's, which I had the privilege of going to, and I thought it was really well done this year. And I know it's going to the aquarium next year, and I hope I'm sure they'll do well with that as well. And now, up to where we are now, on Thursday, we're giving the tours to the upcoming freshmen, which some of them are going to be over there probably. And now for us sophomores, we have junior year coming up, which means like SATs, ACTs, all those tests, harder classes, most important class of year of the high school, you could say. But I'm sure we'll all be okay and we'll manage. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to freshman liaison Dom. And thank you all for being great for the year.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dom Gorman, freshman class liaison. It's been a pleasure being here all year talking with you guys. This year has been super memorable as it is our first year in high school with my class. The high school has had many different events and activities. Some key events through our year is Spirit Week, Pep Rally, Homecoming, attending different events like sports and fairs, as Amin mentioned. And our freshmen hosted a freshman movie night, which was another fun thing we did at the end of the year to really celebrate our first year in high school. With all the fun things we enjoyed, we had to get through our academics as well, considering this week is finals. Seemed a little scary at first, but like after taking midterms, that was a good way to really study and like understand how finals would be. And this recaps the end of our year as finals is our last thing, ending tomorrow with only math. Thanks for having me here tonight and throughout the year. I hope everyone has a great summer.
As always, thank you for coming and speaking to us and letting us know what's going on in the schools. It's always great to hear from you. You're free to stay. I'd say you can go home and study, but it doesn't sound like, except for Dom, there's a ton left going on, but feel free to take off. So thank you all. And I have to circle back. I skipped a routine matter on the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes for May 16th, both executive and regular session?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes or abstentions? Thank you. Mr. Bollendorf.
Thank you, Mark. We are going to begin tonight. We have a bunch of recognitions that we have in store for everyone here this evening. And we're going to start off by turning the meeting over to Carol Butler, who's going to recognize our retirees.
All right. Ready to rock and roll? This is a time where we'd like to thank and honor our staff who've been here for a long time. I'd like to highlight a few of them tonight as they are retiring with us from us today, or soon to be on Thursday, on Tuesday today. And if they would like to come up, they're here tonight. We have a certificate and a coveted pen, Morristown pen, that we will leave you with. You finally get one. Cynthia Allen, you're first. Come on up at the high school. Cynthia Allen is completing her 22nd year here in Morristown. She's teaching Latin at the high school. Cynthia led the Latin and the Italian club, supporting students for many years. She found ways to make language lively, both in and out of the classroom, and she also is a Morristown graduate. Congratulations.
Salwete. Thanks for the chance to be an orator this evening. You may not know this, but I grew up in Morristown. I went to the Zelli School for kindergarten. Do any of you know where that school was? It's now the Zelli Park. It's not there anymore. Then I went to South Valley, WAMS, and MHS. I had such amazing and inspiring teachers and coaches in Morristown. Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Ellis, Mrs. Fine, and especially Dave Rohde, my Latin magister at MHS. He was so great that I decided to become a Latin teacher myself. And thanks to Rhodius, as I was called, I was offered to come back to teach at my alma mater. Did you catch the Latin? After teaching in other schools for 18 years. I want to thank my teachers and my colleagues and the MEA, especially the leadership of the MEA, who truly cares about this district, for their invaluable help and support during my 22 years at MHS, especially during difficult times. When my father, Dr. Richard Eberly, was president of the Morristown School Board, his message was that teachers and staff of this district are what make a difference and what make this district great. He always said that teachers and staff need to be respected, valued, well paid, and appreciated. His mantra was true then, and it's still true today. All the educational research shows that the teacher is the most important factor in learning. In Morristown, the dedication, diligence, and experience of the staff and the consistency of good administrators who stay and are dedicated, e.g., Carol Butler and Drew Seibel, keep the district great. Finally, I would like to thank my disciples, my wonderful students whom I have truly enjoyed teaching due to their labor, and studium, which is zeal or enthusiasm. I hope that my father's mantra, Mtps, and the Latin curriculum will live on semper, always and forever. Thank you. And for those of you who say that Latin doesn't exist, could you count up how many words were Latin? At least 17.
Great. Is Susan Bennett here tonight? Susan Bennett. I don't think I saw her. I'm just going to read real quickly. She is finishing her 29th year here in Morristown. She teaches the CAD program at the high school. She was a class advisor and robotics advisor for several years. Susan was the web page editor and served on the web team. She led the Habitat for Humanity and Magic clubs. Susan was a mentor teacher to new teachers, and she's been a strong female role model to students in a predominantly male-led technology field. We want to thank her for her time. Annette Burke. I see Annette. I see Annette. Okay. Annette Burke is completing her 17th year here at Morristown. She teaches orchestra at both the WAMS and the high school. She has done a tremendous job in enhancing our orchestra program. Because she taught students in grades 7 through 12, she developed very strong relationships with her students, growing the program and maintaining a high retention rate for the orchestra program. Annette helped prepare many students to be selected to participate in the All South Jersey Orchestra and all state programs. She herself continues to be an avid violin player with the Philharmonic of Southern New Jersey. We want to thank her for her time as well. I think I'm striking out here. Is Al here? Al Kaczynski? Nope. All right. Al is completing his 29th year here at Morristown. He currently teaches physics and chemistry. During his time here at MHS, he's taught all the science disciplines throughout his career. I just learned that tonight. I didn't know that. He was the MEA treasurer for many years. Al has helped out in the discipline and Saturday detention monitor, and he taught in our summer enrichment program. We do want to thank Al for his time here with us. Allison Longmire, WAMS. Allison is finishing her 25th year as a math teacher here at WAMS. She was a 7th grade team leader for many years. She led the math counts and homework club as a co-advisor. She manages the business side of the school yearbook for many years. Allison made many contributions to several building level committees. She provided insight and shared her logical mind to create and support scheduling changes. I was the brunt of that many times. Carol, that doesn't work out mathematically. But she helped out for academic testing and for the fun days throughout the year. So I want to thank Allison personally for your time. Thank you.
All right, it's really hard to follow our lead there, and I don't have a big speech for you. As a math teacher, we keep our words very limited. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, to the board, to the community, to some of my students back there who just happened to be here tonight. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Carol. Much appreciated.
Sean Pickle. Sean is finishing her 31st year here at WAMS. She started her career as a social studies teacher until the day I approached her and asked her if she'd be interested in becoming a digital media teacher. She was worried because she thought it would only last for a year or two. Well, it actually lasted a lot more than 2 years. How many years? I couldn't figure that out today. Maybe 15 years. Her contributions are displayed throughout the building and the district, from photos of students on the walls to the end of year videos for the 8th graders, even the fun follies with the staff, leading and also participating. She was she's been a great leader on our tech committee for the district, helping the district move forward with technology for many years, and her contributions are great. Sean wanted to share some of the reflections over the last 3 years that she loved getting to work and learn from some of the best educators in the country, being a part of the technology committee and helping develop and implement our district's technology initiatives, having the opportunity to create, teach, grow at the WAMS video production program, teaching classes like psychology, sociology, parts of the old 8th grade civics curriculum, the alternative classroom education program for at-risk students, and the current video production class, which has allowed her to really get to know her students. Some of the most important things that she's learned as an educator have been taught by her students in these classes. We want to thank you for your time here.
I'm not a big speech person, so I just want to say thank you. I am the person, I am the teacher that I've become because of my students, because of this community, and because of the staff. Thank you.
As mentioned earlier, Mr. Matt Keith. Matt is completing his 12th year here in Morristown. He started out as an assistant principal at the high school. When I moved over to the administration building, Matt put his hand up and said, I'll come over to WAMS, and became the WAMS principal. He has been instrumental in making changes to the WAMS schedule, beautifying the school inside and out. Matt has a desire to support students, recently taking his building through several training opportunities to bring social emotional learning to WAMS, which will be implemented next school year. He leaves us to continue his work with middle school students in South Carolina. We want to wish him all the best.
I just want to quickly mention one thing that wasn't mentioned. The two ladies leaving WAMS, they were behind the scenes on a lot of what we did. Both of them were on all the committees. And when Carol mentioned that Allison was the business mind, she was the business mind behind just about everything that ran in this building. So I want to give her credit for that. And then everything you see is social media, our videos, our pictures, anything that we do, Sean's on the other side of that. So these two ladies who are leaving, really between the organization of the building and how we promote that organization, these two that are stepping out. So fortunately, Sherry can do both. So we're excited for that. So thank you, everybody.
I know Marcia Clark is not here tonight, but she's completing her 34th year in Morristown. She began her career as a student teacher at WAMS. She teaches computers at the UES, but has also taught fifth grade in the challenge classes. She led the students in the Handbell Club. She was the musical and business director for the WAMS musicals. She also coached WAMS intramural softball, and she led the Environmental Natures Club. Marcia wanted to share for the last 34 years, she has dedicated her career to education and students and families here at Morristown. In many ways, however, she feels that she has an extended member of the family all of her life. Her mother, Jane Steller, was the vocal music teacher at the high school when she was born in the early 60s until her retirement in the 80s. At that time, the magical group she formed was strictly an extracurricular club. Rehearsals were after school in the evenings, many times at our home. Group fundraising events for the summer trips to Europe and Asia and community performances took place on the weekends. As a result, most of my early years were spent with my mother and the Mads, gaining many additional big brothers and sisters and their families in the deal. Although I don't leave a legacy like the magical singers to the MTPS family, she's very fortunate to have had the opportunity to positively impact thousands of Morristown students over the years, as well as collaborate and work with such talented and dedicated staff throughout her tenure here at Morristown. Her heart is full, and together, Marcia said, between her and her mother, they have supported the Morristown students for over 60 years. We want to thank her for her time. Marissa Paglione. Did I see her? I do not. She is finishing her 34th year here at Morristown. She started her career at Roberts Elementary teaching music, transferring over to the UES to continue to teach choir and general music. She was the choral and music directors for the UES musicals. We want to thank her for her time here as well. Carol Wiggins, come on up. Carol began her career here at WAMS as a resource teacher, then moving over to UES to continue supporting students with special needs. She is completing her 23rd year here in Morristown.
I just want to say thank you. I've been reading some IEPs of my special ed students, and when you see the name of a student you had in your class as having written the IEP, it's time to go. So thank you very much. It's been a great run. Thank you.
There's an educator's joke for you. All right, Miss Trish Moore, come on up. She's completing her 26th year here in Morristown. She started the middle school as a long-term substitute for Sean Pickle, who was already retired, who's retiring, that we already mentioned that. She taught 7th and 8th graders at the as a multidisciplinary teacher, and then she moved to UES where she taught 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade challenge. Did I leave anything out?
Math.
Oh, math. Oh, that math. She led the math counts for several years. I think that's what I have to say. That was it. That was it. Thank you. Congratulations.
Education was not my first career. I worked at Lockheed Martin for 7 years before I became a teacher, but I feel very blessed that I found this career because I've felt rewarded every single day. Thank you.
George Strauger, come on up. My Eagles buddy. Another one. He's finishing his 26th year here in Morristown. He started at
Damn.
Roberts as a self-contained fourth grade teacher. He led the character building club and an assistant wrestling coach. He was a safety patrol advisor and bus duty monitor. He was an advisor for the yearbook at UES, and he's worked closely with Gavin Quinn, our science supervisor, to coordinate for many years the Morristown Science Fair. So we want to thank you for all that you've done for us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Board. Oh, since no one else has cried prior to this, I am not going to speak long because I'm not going to be the first to shed a tear. I'm humbled and honored. Thank you very much.
Judy Meyer. Is she here tonight? Did I see her? Did not. No. Okay. Judy Meyer is completing her 35th year here in Morristown. She begins her career as a student teacher before getting a teaching position at Roberts Elementary in the perceptually impaired class, supporting our neediest children. Judy has taught our students at Baker and now currently at South Valley. She has served as MBA president for 1 year when Lisa was on sabbatical. We want to thank her for her time working with our students. Denise Sentenfelter, come on up. Give your Morristown hat on and everything.
I'm a hat wearer. No disrespect. How to represent Morristown today.
You represented your whole career. Do you know
I
that?
did,
Your
I
whole
did.
career. She is completing her 27th year here in Morristown at South Valley in third grade. Your entire time in third grade.
Entire time.
She started as a long-term substitute, and we want to thank her for all your time here. Thank you.
No speech, just I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the Board of Education, the administration, the MEA, and my South Valley family for 27 years here. So thank you.
Brian Wright, come on up. No cry, no crying.
No crying.
No crying. All right. He is finishing his 23rd year here at Morristown as their school resource officer, 25 years with the Morristown Police Department. He ran the Suds Club at the high school, which is Students United for Driving Safe. He delivered holiday meals to support our families throughout town for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Brian volunteered and coached for the Morristown High School boys lacrosse teams. This past season, Brian was voted by his peer coaches as Man of the Year. Brian is the voice of the Quakers when he's in the press box announcing all the home games. He is one of 8 staff members who has personally raised money to support the high school weight room. When we did the referendum at that time, the weights were not included in the referendum. So would you guys bike? What'd you do? You begged for money to get the weights in the room. So we appreciate his commitment and time to our services here.
I'm definitely going to be brief, else I will cry. I started out here after Columbine, so it was to keep everybody safe. And that morphed into doing traffic duty, waving at the kids and parents, making sure they knew that I was around. And then they started calling me a coworker. So it was amazing. I was a police officer, but then I became their coworker. And then I looked around and I became their friend. And now I'm ending and everybody's my family. So I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's it for tonight.
So we are definitely not done with the fanfare. We have a lot of young people in the audience tonight for a good reason. So at this time, I'm going to turn things over to Principal Matt Keith and Vice Principal, soon to be Principal Sherry Caravano, who are going to talk a little bit about our middle school wrestling team.
All right, thank you for your patience, boys. That's the best I've seen you guys behave in a very long time. Nice job. You guys deserve a round of applause. Now, this is, I was saying to them yesterday when we unveiled the banner that's going to hang up in the gymnasium, that this is, in the 10 years I've been here, this is just the second banner that any sports team has won here at WAMS. And the first was baseball. Those kids are graduating this year. And now these kids, when they look back in 4 years, hopefully you guys will take a look with some pride. Congratulations on winning your first league title. Nice job. I just want to quickly thank their coaches, Curtis Clark and Stu Lynch. I don't know if Stu's here. I'm going to turn it over to Sherry real quick.
I'm going to announce the names of everyone on the list. So I know not everyone is here, but when you hear your name, we have certificates for you. We put them over here on the table for you to take before you leave. They are in alphabetical order. I'm not going to read in alphabetical order. Michael Angelini, Enzo Brock, Ethan Brooks, Paul Caparelli, Jackson Carty, DeLorean DeFelice, Noel Dugas, London Egan, Patrick Fry, Leo Higgins, Lucas Horner, Jeremy Jang, Jack Lance, Cole Langen, Jake Lees, Sean Martin, Liam Massey, William Minarchik, Thomas O'Connor, Benjamin Olchin, Trip Parkhill, Tommy Rapisi, Maxton Smith, Anderson Spell, Bryant Spell, Liam Sudam, Alex Waldhauser, Dalton Wiley, Nolan Wiley, Declan Williams, Liam Williams, Michaela Zell, Vincenzo Balsamo, James Blong, Jacob Flanders, Matthew Amelia, Amaya Egan, and our two managers, Eliana Albert and Lily Boardman.
I just wanted to say again to you guys, congratulations. I've been coaching wrestling here since 2003, and this is the first year that we've been able to win it all. We've been close a couple years, very close, but this was a great group of kids. They work hard. They didn't miss practice. They put everything out there, and we had a little bit of adversity going into playoffs, and they overcame it. We had an awesome championship match down 32-9, and they battled back, and we ended up stealing it on the last match, and it was an awesome victory, and they really deserve this and this banner. And you guys, congratulations, and enjoy this, because you get to always come back and look at it.
All right, with that, you guys can go home. You've done a great job. If you want, you can stay and watch if you really want to.
Congratulations. Thank you. And continuing with the hit parade, I just do want to acknowledge all of our seniors who received awards, recognition, scholarships last week during the senior awards. I want to particularly thank the community, the support that you give, the dollars that you give in scholarship dollars to our kids is truly appreciated. The Home and School Council, Senior Breakfast, the various things that you do to make our kids feel special is incredibly important and incredibly appreciated. So thank you. And a couple last shout outs. I want to congratulate our girls varsity softball team, who in their many, many year history and membership in the Olympic Conference actually won their first ever divisional championship this past school year. So they'll be hanging a banner as well. And lastly, in Moorestown, we do have a club for rowing, a crew club, and we have some great national recognition for both boys and girls. Our 8-person under 16-year-old boys boat has recently been ranked 13th in the nation, and our female boat is now ranked 12th in the nation after they attended their the youth nationals held in Florida. So congratulations, a great accomplishment from some really young people, and the sky's the limit as they continue their work in the rowing world. And With that, I will turn things over back to Mr. Villanueva. Thank you. Oh, well, the general update I just gave. And I will turn things over right now to Sherry Caravano, who's going to do the SSDS presentation and the HIBS self-assessment presentation.
I'll start before the screen comes up. So twice a year, we are required to report certain incidents to the state, as well as programs and trainings that we have implemented at all levels to address harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So what I'm going to report for you now is everything from September to December. And then in the fall, we will report everything from January to June. At the end of the presentation, you will also see our self-assessment and the report card grade. In the fall, we are required to grade ourselves at every building on how we are doing following the state's HIB policy. Our report is submitted to the state of New Jersey, and in April, they give our school district a grade. I actually did display our self-assessment scores in the fall when I presented last year's SSDS, but you will see that information up again tonight with our report card grade from the state of New Jersey. I can just speak about it if the projector's not working. Oh, okay. That's okay. Here I am. Thanks, Colleen. All right. So like I mentioned before, there are certain things that we need to report on twice a year. Our trainings and programs that we put into place district-wide to address harassment, intimidation, and bullying. The incidents that we have to report include alleged and confirmed HIBs, also any suspension, and there are certain criteria of other incidents such as vandalism, fighting, etc. This is the total incidents for September to December for all buildings. We have the HIBs alleged and confirmed broken out and all of the incidents leading to removal. Really doesn't want to go. You could just bump to the next one more. Thank you. Our elementary schools submit their programming. As you can see here, much of what you see was done in the fall because this is the September, December reporting period. Something you will see common across all buildings would be the week of respect, but at the lower elementary levels, they do have some unique programs that they utilize, such as the buddy bench and also counselor check-ins with the students. All of these programs and trainings are meant to be preventative for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. At the UES, again, you will see some common themes across all buildings, but you also see stuff like the Golden Paw program. They also did a Thanksgiving food drive and a holiday gift drive in their building, as well as Socktober, which was an initiative at the UES in the fall. Here at WAMS, we had a kindness assembly in the fall, and from that initiated a new club, our kindness crew, which began meeting periodically throughout the rest of the school year. We have Quaker Spotlight recognition, where we recognize our students regularly for the great things that they do in our building. And we also had Inclusivity Week activities for the students in December. At the high school, you will see again Week of Respect activities, as well as monthly chill-in chats, which were created previously and were run again this year. There are also some new clubs initiated in the fall of this year for the students. And at the district level, this is an example of some of the professional development that was provided in the fall for our staff. And on the last slide, this is our self-assessment. The addition from the fall is the official district grade at the top. This is what we will utilize after we self-assess ourselves in the fall. This is what every building utilizes to gauge what we need to work on for our HIB initiative. So each building has their self-assessment broken out, and this is what we utilize as anti-bullying specialists throughout the year to make improvements in our building. Any questions? Okay,
Sherry.
thanks.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'll keep that on.
Okay, moving on in our agenda, we are up to board committee reports, and I'll kick it off with respect to the ad hoc committee on housing and development. As I've mentioned in prior meetings, the board has put together an ad hoc committee to examine the impact of the new housing that's going to be coming to town. We didn't meet in the last 30 days or since our last board meeting, but it is a continuous conversation, I think, in various committees and certainly among board members as to sort of what's happening in the near term and long term and how we are going to address it. So this committee will be meeting over the summer a handful of times, and we're going to hit the ground running next year when we return, and we'll have some concrete items to report back on. So the next committee is communications. Jill?
Yep, we didn't meet this past 30 days either. We're meeting next week as a committee.
Okay. Thank you. And Lauren, curriculum, please.
Sure. We met June 8th. In attendance, Karen Benton, Dr. Joe Bollendorf, Julie Colby, Roseth Rodriguez, Mick Weeks, Danielle Miller, Cheryl Makopoulos, and myself. There was an informational update from Julie Colby, in which she presented the grade K through 8 math pilot, gave an overview for the text selection and the rollout for the pilot process. There actually was a discussion between piloting 2 different textbooks. So they're going to go with the Savas Envision September through December and kind of assess at that point whether they want to switch the pilot to the HMH or continue with the current pilot underway. So we'll get an update in the curriculum committee in the winter as far as what the decision is for that. Informational updates: Baker School will participate in an early childhood longitudinal study looking at really post-pandemic learning and the connection with universal pre-K. Information will go out to parents at Baker School for that. Also, an informational update: Jackie provided the grade 6 through 8 ELA pilot update and shared that the district will be moving forward with this adoption. The pilot went really well. And also then there'll be summer writing curriculum for grade 6, 7 honors, 8 and 8 honors ELA. And they'll continue with fall PD. Again, the focus for this is improving writing scores and increasing the rigor in the curriculum for ELA. There was also an informational update for Jackie sharing the WAMS reading selections. I know that went out to parents. For 7th grade, it will be a graphic novel, New Kid, which will focus on building SEL and classroom community. And for 8th grade, it will be I Will Always Write Back, which will focus on memoir writing and diversity. Informational update: Jackie shared a high school wanted to pilot free lunch, a novel for levels 1 and 2 freshmen moving forward. And lastly, there was an informational update Roseth gave about the high school world language textbook adoptions. These were actually scheduled to be implemented pre-pandemic, and then they were put on pause during the pandemic. So we're now moving forward with that. She kind of went over the process for the selection and how they'll be moving forward. And again, there'll be summer curriculum writing for that by the new staff. Because there was a lot of information shared in that meeting, we did table from May's meeting. We were looking at the process for reconsideration of instructional materials and library materials and the adoption of textbooks. That process will be continued to be discussed in our September meeting. We also I talked to Karen. We're going to take a look in September about how the district is meeting the needs through SLE and curriculum of our marginalized students. So we'll take a more in-depth look at that, kind of following up with how we're meeting the needs of all of our students.
Thank you, Lauren. Any comments or questions for Lauren? Okay, moving on to finance and operations. Mick, any updates?
Sure. The Finance and Operations Committee met last week. The committee members, myself, Claudine, Danielle, Cheryl, we were all there, and James, Carol, Jeff, Dave, Joe, just put first names down. Everybody, they were all there from the administrative side. So we had a pretty meaty agenda, so I'll try to go through these things quickly. I apologize, the minutes were in committee review, so they didn't go out to the full board yet, but make sure they go out to the full board. So we started off with good news. During an unclaimed property search, we found some money, or more specifically, James found some money for us. So that's always a good thing. And then also continuing the good news, no changes were recommended this year for the summer enrichment programs. So that's good. We talked about the capital and maintenance reserve. There's a resolution on the agenda tonight to approve an up to amount. That amount will be determined once our audit is closed out. We talked about renewing our NutriServe contract and an adjustment we had to make to the pricing. We actually have to increase our pricing to meet federal pricing requirements over the next 3 years. The good news about that is that it'll help take care of the increased food costs we expect that we've all been seeing. So we discussed and talked about the contract for ESF. We're still in negotiations with them for using our facility, actually this building here and the surrounding grounds for their program this summer. We provide technology services, as the board knows, to Delanco School District. IT services, we are talking about renewing that current agreement and looking at a possible new agreement to cover some technology services that are not covered in the existing agreement. We also are doing transportation services for them and anticipate continuing that. We will be voting tonight on a bid that we talked about in the executive for transportation for filling some additional routes. And there was there's also a resolution in tonight's agenda about renewing our contract for lease purchase so that we can acquire some of the higher ticket items and pay for that over multiple years. We also are seeking to have board authorization for participating in the Camden County Educational Services Commission agreement for 23-24, and that will give us the opportunity to have the flexibility to make use of shared services through that organization, things like finding additional bus routes for special needs populations and so forth. We talked about some of the things actually that were already mentioned, so reorganization items, namely creating the assistant superintendent position. So that's on the agenda tonight for a vote to replace the director of curriculum innovation position, replacing the middle school principal, replacing our law enforcement officer with special law enforcement officers, and actually expanding that coverage. And also finding a backfill for our EDC program coordinator. So those were all the action items, and the committee recommended moving forward on all of those. In discussion, we talked about the New Jersey Cash Management Fund, opening up a line, I guess, a connection with them to take advantage of higher interest rates that they may provide for us. Nothing concrete yet, but just looking at having that option there to move some cash reserves in to help generate some more income. Again, great job, James. Talking about the survey, we are looking at getting a demographer, as we've talked about in the committee that Mr. Villanueva mentioned earlier, to help with our changing population. So we did a survey with districts around the state responding, getting ideas from them and suggestions about organizations to look into help us with that. And then had a conversation about transportation issues as it pertains to the last few days of school and making sure that we have coverage and are doing that in the most cost-effective way. Coming up under miscellaneous business and future items, we'll be talking about potentially on the August agenda bids for transportation for fall sports, an RFP to get cybersecurity solutions and services for the district, and then also an RFP for financial software. So that was, I know that seemed like long, but trust me, the meeting was longer. All right, any questions or comments? All right, hearing none.
Okay, I didn't know if
Oh.
you were prepping a question or just getting ready for the
Oh,
next
no.
report. Okay. Thanks, Mick.
Sure.
Claudine, could you give us an update from policy, please?
Policy Committee met on June 13th. It was Melissa Arcaro Burns, Mark Villanueva, Jill Fellows Macaluso, myself, Mr. Bollendoff, and Dr. Benton. There are no policies on first or second reading tonight on our agenda. We did have several items for discussion, but primarily we're still focusing on review of our policies related to community organizations, boosters, parent organizations, and other affiliated type of organizations under our existing policies. We have some drafts in the process that we're reviewing, and we're going to look at some of the existing clubs that are in place and entities and see where they fit best before we kind of move forward with a proposal. More for information, I think we did a review of a proposed change to a UES handbook. And then overall, in general, we continue to focus on emphasizing our need to improve districts' communications related to the implementation and accountability under our policies in place. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Claudine. Does anybody have any off-board committee updates?
Thank you. Technically, probably not a committee update, but I just wanted to share on June 14th, last week, I had the pleasure, along with a bunch of other board members, to attend the Unified Banquet at the Lenola Fire Station. And it really was the highlight of my week. I think probably most of us can say that. The friendship, camaraderie, and respect that all of these students have for one another was completely unmatched, and it made me so proud of our community. I'd be remiss if I didn't share that the Philly Fanatic was there as a special guest. And he was certainly a fun addition to the event, but the genuine enthusiasm, friendship, and respect all these students showed for each other was really what was most meaningful about the event. So I just wanted to thank the parents, the students, everyone involved. It was an amazing event. I was glad to be a part of it. Dr. Tate, thank you for everything you do related to our special needs population, as well as everything with Unified. It truly was very moving, and I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Great. Thank you. Does anybody else have an off-board committee update? Okay. We're now up to the public comment section of our agenda. This first public comment section, this is the first of two. This one relates only to items that are on the board agenda. The ground rules are set forth in the agenda itself. May I please get a motion to open public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, if anybody has a public comment on agenda items, now is the time to please step up to the microphone and take up to 3 minutes. Okay. Seeing nobody approaching the microphone, may I get a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to our business. May I please get a motion to approve the reports to the board contained in Article 8 of the agenda, items 1 through 5. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Thank you. Article 9, recommendations of the superintendent. May I please get a motion for the approval of item A, the remote learning plan? Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes or abstentions? Thank you. Letter B, educational program. May I please get a motion for approval of items 1 through 6 in that section of the agenda, please? Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Those are abstentions? Any further abstentions? Thank you. Letter C, finance and business. May I please get a motion for the approval of items 1 to 23? And I would note, however, that item 20 is as amended as discussed in executive with respect to the transportation bid. May I please get a motion?
So moved.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Those are abstentions? Thank you. Employee relations, letter D. May I please get a motion for the approval of items 1 through 34? And again, item 20 is as amended as discussed in executive session, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. It's a roll call vote.
Mrs. Arcara Burns,
Yes.
Mrs. Fallows Macaluso, Dr. Maya, Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morano,
Yes.
Ms. Romano, Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. McCopolis,
Yes.
Mr. Villanueva.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could.
Sure.
Just with that motion passing, I want to congratulate Sherry Carvano, who is now the formal next principal at WAMS. Congratulations, Sherry. And I'd like to formally recognize and show appreciation for Dr. Karen Benton, who is now the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction and Innovation for the Morristown Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Bollendorf. Next is the superintendent's HIB report in Article 10, letter B. May I please get a motion for the approval of those items under the superintendent's HIB report, please? Any comments or questions? All in favor? Any noes or abstentions? Thank you. Enrollment information is listed in Article 11. Is there any old business? Hearing none, there is new business. And under Article 13 of the agenda, and I'll just read it into the record because I'll bumble it if I don't. This is a resolution that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent of schools in consultation with board leadership to fill vacancies in existing job classifications during the months of June, July, and August 2023, if no board meetings are scheduled. And it's further resolved that the Board of Education gives final approval of all hiring at the next regular board meeting. May I please get a motion to approve that resolution? Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Thank you. We're now up to our second public comment section. This is the section where we will take public comment on items either on or off the board agenda. The rules, again, are set forth in writing in the agenda itself, and we would kindly ask that you please abide by those. In a nutshell, the time limitation is 3 minutes, and all the other ground rules are set forth in the agenda. So may I please get a motion to open public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. If you have a public comment, please approach the microphone, and to lead off, state your name and the address to the extent you're comfortable stating it.
All right. George Trauger, UES teacher. You're going to appreciate my brevity earlier on because I'm going to read about the Baker Bears and what they've been up to for the last few weeks. And this is not brief. Snuggle in. Hi, I'm George and I teach at UES, and I would like to commend the Baker Bears staff for the following. The children presented Officer Wright with a special book and card that they made in celebration of his retirement. The children enjoyed a visit from another police officer and his dog Salts from the Morristown Canine Unit. The children were fascinated by Salts following commands and showing obedience to his officers. Kindergarten classes have learned all about various careers through parents who volunteered to present their occupations. Mother Goose joined us for another year of magic of nursery rhymes and reinforced reinforce being kind to others. Cedar Run Wildlife Refuge came to visit Baker with some special nocturnal animals to connect with our Into Reading Animal Unit. And in June, the children will have a special Baker Bear keepsake when they were able to stuff in remembrance of their year in kindergarten. During kindergarten registration, the preschool children were able to visit all 4 kindergartens, meet teachers, and explore the classroom. The children were able to plant various seeds and observe how the roots and plants grow, and then take them home to make a garden with their families. First grade students at Baker took a field trip to the zoo in Philadelphia. The first graders had been learning about animals during science throughout the entire school year, and they were able to see these animals up close in their habitats during their field trip. It was a hugely wonderful day for all who attended. At Baker, Ms. Spotnelli's second graders made mobiles describing their own character traits. How great to see positive words about themselves hanging in their own bedrooms. Baker third grade students had some awesome end of the year experience last week as well. On Tuesday, the students joined together with their third grade students from Robertson South Valley for an orientation at the UES. And I saw that firsthand. That was very great. That was great to see those guys coming up. Additionally, the students went to the community house where they were celebrated for becoming one whole class of 2032. At the community house, students joined together with their pen pals to get to know them face to face and another third grade student from a different elementary school. Following the time at the community house, the Baker third grade students returned to school to begin decorating their reusable grocery bags that they then filled with the food that they had collected from their community service project, which was a food drive for the food pantry located at Bethel AME Church. On Thursday, the Baker third grade students walked in classes over to the food pantry to deliver the food and learn a little bit more about how they were able to help their community. And finally, the third graders performed their last concert as Baker Bears. The concert was themed around friendship and family. They sang songs and included choreography and sign language. Several students did a routine using colorful fans, and the audience was dazzled with the use of confetti. The concert ended with a beautiful song about friendship and with a slideshow of the third graders as they said farewell to Baker. Great job, Baker Bears.
I'm Nicole Kitts and I work at Baker, and I would like to commend the WAM staff for during NJSLA testing in May, WAM staff organized and ran a field day on Thursday afternoon that allowed all students to participate in 12 different events while competing against 7th and 8th graders. In June, staff worked together to create a 7th grade end of year project to complement the 8th grade one. This was our first year of implementation, and a lot of time and energy was invested to make sure it was a success. Thank you.
Nicole Dancy, 16 East Close. I have been treasurer of Home and School for the last 2 years, and I'm excited to announce that I will be the president this coming September. Our board consists of trustees, 7 executive members, and 6 school chairs representing each school. Our team consists of dedicated volunteer parents that merge their skills and their passion to enrich the lives of every student in our district. Our motto is working together for our kids. At the beginning of each school year, each school is allotted funds to use for enrichment of students and to make improvements throughout the school. We work with the principals to see how we can best support the schools. Some of the things we've accomplished this year: for the Baker School, projector screen and motor. For Roberts, 6 pieces of furniture for the media center in their library. South Valley, we replaced the basketball hoops. UES, Author Day. WAMS, IROC 2 Assembly. And for the high school, staff appreciation, senior breakfast, and senior picnic. We also help and volunteer to run the Booster-thon as well as book fairs. Some of the things that we do on a district level with Home and School is we donate to Project Graduation. We provide 5 $1,000 scholarships for graduating seniors. We also, for Carasalis, the mental health, we donated for the pilot. Some things we look forward to for next school year are the Harlem Wizards event in October. And starting next spring, we will be on a district level paying for the 3rd grade dance. Also, we decided to add additional funds to each school for field trips or as they see fit. And I want to thank on behalf of Home and School, I want to thank the principals for their willingness to continually collaborate with us, as well as the many parent volunteers for your continued time and financial support. It truly takes a village. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kayla Johnson. I am the choral director at MHS. And tonight I would just like to commend all of Robert's staff. Mrs. DeShong orchestrated another fantastic third grade performance. All third graders were involved in singing, dancing, gymnastics, and playing instruments. The show highlighted musical songs from popular movies such as Encanto, Frozen, Moana, and The Lion King. The wonderful world of Disney shows was a huge success. Despite the weather, Robert's Field Day was a big hit. We thank Mrs. Catramavone, and the many volunteers, both parents and Robert's alumni, that made the day fun for all. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tara Cortman. I teach here at WAMS, and I'd like to commend the high school staff for their participation in Pride Day at the high school on June 2nd. Staff were supportive of the LGBTQ community, which includes staff and students in our building. The staff appreciates the support of the high school administration. I would also like to thank all of the staff involved for preparing and facilitating a wonderful senior awards night on June 13th. All of the graduation preparation going on right now takes tremendous preparation and dedication from all of the support staff, the secretaries, custodians, and paraprofessionals at the high school who work to make this event a very special day for our seniors. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Clem and I work here at WAMS, but today I'm here to shout out some really, really awesome teachers at the UES who are working really, really hard to give a great big send off to their sixth graders before they come up here to be with us at WAMS. They are doing many different activities to really send the sixth grade students off in style, but we particularly want to commend what they've recently done for the sixth grade talent show. Nikki Shullins and Melissa O'Donnell have facilitated the talent show at the sixth grade level, and they have overseen kids as they were singing, dancing, playing instruments, solving Rubik's Cubes, baton twirling, and there was even a lightsaber challenge. So all the talent that was displayed there was amazing. We can't wait to have them here at WAMS with us. And we just want to shout out all those sixth grade teachers who are really giving their all to make sure that those kids know that although we're going to be fabulously happy to have them here at WAMS, they're going to miss them at the UES too. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Lanny Ruiz, and I also work here at WAMS. I'd like to thank and commend the South Valley staff for our third grade final project in our Moorestown unit. Mrs. Devers and Mrs. Semifelter's classes read their Why I Am Proud of My Community essays to Mayor Gillespie and Deputy Mayor Law. They loved them so much that the classes were invited to read them at the town council meeting on June 12th, and the other council members and community members were there to also enjoy what the third graders presented.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
All in favor? Thank you very much. Anything for the good of the order? All right. Well, the board does not have a meeting in July, so our next regularly scheduled meeting will be August. Congrats to the graduates. We will see everybody on Thursday. Let's hope the weather holds and we can have it outdoors. So may I please get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Thanks.